Looks like we're live. Back again. How's everybody doing out there? Good, I hope. I hope you're staying positive, not letting all this kind of unknown and craziness get you down. And to that very end, my guest today is TREZ IBRAHIM, and she specializes in launching your dream life. And so, since I know you have time on your hands, I thought I'd ask her to come on and share with us. How are you today? Is it this morning or afternoon or evening for you?
It is morning. I'm at Pacific Standard Time.
Well, so. That obviously shows you're smart. Yeah. Where are you located?
I'm in California, Southern California.
Oh, Northern California.
Yeah, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm up in just underneath Lake Tahoe.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Nice.
It's pretty nice.
We've had a lot of rain down here. We're not really used to it. So
no, you're not. Everybody loses their mind and forgets how to drive. I'm very familiar with it. Let's see.
That is true.
It's just I have to look down for just a second to check a couple of things. Absolutely. We're still working out a system where I can automate all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But for the time being, there's a couple of, I hate it. There's a couple of seconds in the beginning of each interview where I have to be like, yeah, keep going. So it looks like things are working just fine. I can give you more or less my undivided attention now. So tell us what the heck you do.
Sure. So I'm the founder of No, not at all. I've written a couple of books. I am an author, speaker, trainer, coach, and business and personal strategist. So I've been doing this work for about 30 years. So I've actually been able to really harness lots of different tools and strategies and structures that really help my clients step into their dream life. So I've that this has just been an amazing time to really connect with my clients, see the foundations they built, and help them to catapult their life further. And so that's what I do. I help people step into the possibilities in their life and actually turn those possibilities into probabilities.
Oh, I like that. I'd like to use myself as an example. Mm-hmm. Because I think that there's a disconnect between how people see me and how I experience my own sort of connectedness to maybe mission or purpose, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that mission and purpose underpin what you do, or am I making an assumption that is
absolutely
not?
Yes,
they do. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about how you help people to find purpose. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much you know my work and how much you know my POV on this, but I rant a lot actually against the idea that you've got to have purpose to make progress. Mm-hmm. I think it's wonderful, but I think that we've been, the sort of the seminar industry and the self-help industry have sort of sold us a bill of goods that I've seen sort of morph over the last 25 years from, like early Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar. It's great to have a purpose. It's really useful, to this sort of like, it's like marketing got in the mix. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, what do you mean you don't have a purpose? You suck. You can't do anything. Stop. Find your purpose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think the industry has really made this purpose into this massive thing that you have to go and search. Right. And it's this lifelong thing. And if you get it wrong, you're kind of screwed. And if you get it right, then, that's awesome. Yeah. And so there's a lot of attachment there. So yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, I think our purpose is just to live a full life and to experience life and love fully. So that's just, kind of a how you show up for yourself every day. I really feel that your life has to be driven by a vision, and a vision is something that is malleable, is something that shifts, something that changes. And it's something that you wake up every day thinking, what would I love? What is driving me forward? What makes me happy? What brings me joy?
Yeah.
What makes me feel connected to that bigger part of myself. So the vision to me is what's important. And starting with that vision, and which drives you forward, and then just helps you to create what are the steps beyond that, because we don't just start with a vision. We start with a vision, but we don't stop with a vision. That's just the starting point.
I would mostly agree with that, and I'd even want to get a little bit more specific about starting with a vision. And this is very personal. This may not be the experience most people have. And once again, I make an assumption that you know a little bit about me, and if you don't, that's okay. But I don't say this for. I don't like to get attention for this anymore. This is not a sort of manipulative thing I say. I was literally born into an environment with some fairly extreme brainwashing, fairly extreme indoctrination. I've since come to realize that we're all indoctrinated, right? I mean, that's what being raised is.
Absolutely.
And so it's really like it's just on a continuum from sort of what will allow you to fit in and integrate into society to maybe not integrating into society. And so I was way on the far end of not integrating into society. The reason I bring this up is because I have never felt like I had what you might call a clear vision for my life. I have some vague but powerful pushes, some things that push me. I know, for instance, it's very important to me to be of service. And even that is an abstraction to me. And I say that because the people, I was raised in a cult. And in that cult, everybody talked about being of service and nobody was. And even as it was all self-serving, it was all egoic. It was all sort of new age posturing, right? It's almost like I saw a really funny video yesterday from that video guy, JP Sears. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
He had this video of how ultra spiritual people argue. And I was like, oh my God, it's like my childhood.
Yeah, annoying.
and just super full of like vague, impossible to pinpoint, like the way you're talking right now, it makes me think that you actually believe time is not an illusion. I'm like, that's what I was raised in, that crap, right?
Right.
To the point where I labored for years thinking I needed a vision first. So can you break that down for me, for us a little bit? If I come to you and I feel like, TREZ, I'm a work engine. I'm ready to produce. I love humanity. I've got these things to share. I have no effing clue what my vision is. Like, where do we start?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that question, because I think a lot of people are in that boat. And again, they liken that vision to the purpose. It's got to be this big, perfect picture of my entire life that has to be painted in the right colors and the right shapes and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, to me, vision is something that is fluid, and it really does start with what you would love, what makes you happy. And I do have people come in who don't know what they want, what they want to move into. So we just start with the basics. Okay, what would you love spending your time doing? What kinds of interactions would you love to have? What kinds of food do you like to eat? How would you love to feel in your body? And so even like, say simply a vision for your health. It's, well, I don't want it. Well, do you want flexibility? Do you want more energy? Do you want, to feel vibrant and alive? The form comes afterwards. We always think, well, it's got to look a certain way, and I have to figure it all out before I even start writing it down and before I even start moving forward. So the form is fluid. If I love talking to people and that's all I know, okay, great. I know that's my vision. I love talking to people. I love sharing. How does that look? I have no clue. But as I focus on my vision and as I start to dream a little bit, then I take action and inspired action forward, and I'll start to figure out the form. So I may begin with, I love I love talking to people. I love teaching. And so there's an opportunity. And now my reticular activating system, which I'm sure you're aware of, is kind of that heat-seeking missile that starts to align our vision with opportunities that match our vision. We have opportunities. And so I may have a choice of two things, you know, one where I'm going to be in a group where I get to maybe mastermind, share, connect, or go hang out at a bar with, you know, a girlfriend. And my choice is going to be to the right because I'm kind of clear on, oh, this is moving me towards something that I said that I desire. And I may go to that group and figure out, you know, I don't like it. I don't want to be there. It doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring me juice. It's kind of boring, or, you know, whatever it is. And then I course correct. And I start to figure out, you know, what are the nuances of what I love? You know, I was talking to a woman the other day, someone you know, I've been, because I have free time, you know, I'm not traveling. I don't have a lot of in-person meetings. All of my client calls, you know, are calls. And so they're fairly easy to get through. I've been offering free laser coaching to people who are struggling. So I talked to one woman and she said, you know, she'd always wanted to be a teacher. And what she loved was teaching. And she thought it would be in a classroom. And what she found was that didn't bring her joy. She loved teaching content. And so she began her coaching career. And so those are the things that start to open up for us. But it starts with that vision. It starts with at least knowing I want to teach. And I may try it out here. I may check, you know, put it on for size, not necessarily get a job in teaching, but at least, you know, check out, you know, how would I feel being in a classroom? Well, you know, some people are brought to life for that and some are not.
Just a little observation too, very specific to the idea of teaching, is that teaching is an incredibly high paid profession, but being a teacher is one of the lowest paid professions. So I say that it's interesting that you happened on teaching, because that is one of the things that I've always been drawn to do. I remember as a little boy trying to gather my friends for martial arts classes before I knew any martial arts. I just was naturally a teacher. There's something else you said, though, that I think is far more universally applicable here. And I'm going to paraphrase you, so feel free to jump in. And, you know, I'm going to take the essence out of what I heard, rather. A lot of people think that when it comes to this vision idea, you have to have the vision, follow me closely here, folks, before you take action, right? But action is what clarifies the vision, right? And so it's a really important twist to get. It's like a little, I don't know, it's like a little conceptual Mobius strip or something. It's like, it's exactly the opposite of what it kind of maybe feels like, or maybe it's the opposite of what you sort of somehow have been taught, right? Action clarifies the vision. I really appreciate, I mean, sincerely, that you're saying that the vision doesn't have to be, you know, so ultra precise and clear in the beginning. I think of pointillist and impressionist art, right? If you get right up close to it, it doesn't make any sense. But as you go back, suddenly the picture emerges. I think that's really important. I'm reminded of Stephen. Are you a fan of Stephen Covey?
Yes.
I'm reminded of sometimes I say I'm reminded of his work, which is silly because his work is so deep and so all reaching. But there is one part in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People where he walks up through a process of how to sort of connect to your vision. And I like what you said. I think it shares a thread of truth with his idea, which is that you sort of look at every era of your life and you look at what you were sort of just did, what brought you the most joy, right? And then you take all of those different things and then you look for what they have in common. So we don't need, you're giving us permission To not have our full 100% all the way baked vision, aren't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thank God.
Yes. No, that's good, because a lot of people will write this vision and they'll follow a step-by-step process that somebody's taught or they've gone through a workshop, and then they get so stuck on it and they get so attached to it when it does, and when it doesn't unfold, they're not willing to let it go. And in their mind, it's like, oh no, this is my higher self. This is my purpose. This is, I have to make this happen. And meanwhile, they're miserable. They're miserable. And so, if people aren't comfortable writing a vision, it all actually just starts with intentions. I mean, just daily intention. I ask my clients, what would you love today? What would make you, by the end of the day, say this was an incredible day? Yeah. And that intention is a vision. It's painting your dream day, and it's looking at, where am I going to put my energy towards? And so starting with that, you take that and you blow that up into a bigger vision 5-10 years from now. I actually guide my clients to really thinking 3 to 5 years down the road. Like, what would you love your life to look like? Yeah. And the reason I take them that far is because a year, we kind of get in our head about what we can possibly accomplish in a year. And so we get stuck on what's real, what's logical, what's realistic, and which I think limits us. 3 to 5 years, it's a little more open, it's a little more fluid. And just thinking, what's your dream life? I would love to travel. I would love to to write. I would love to, to wake up and enjoy my family. I would love to visit my grandkids and just spend time with my grandkids. Whatever it is just, what would you love? What are those feelings? And I have no idea how it's going to happen. And so when you start to dream into that, and you have the feeling of it, which creates the vibration of it, which allows you to vibrate at the those types of feelings, then you start to be presented with opportunities to take action. And you absolutely have to take action in order to, like you said, course correct, figure out what's right, figure out how to what the form looks like that is really in line with how I want to feel. And those actions or inspired actions start to reconfigure that vision and refine that vision, and again give us clarity. And I'm a big believer in big long-term vision. I'm not a big believer in long-term goals.
Interesting. Yeah. I totally get that.
Right.
I totally get that. Yeah. The goals can very much change.
Absolutely.
Right? As you get closer to them, and as you, I totally understand that. I like the 3-year time as well. 5 years feels a little too long for me, but 1 year seems too literal. That's a great way to describe it. That's maybe the best way I've heard it described. It's just too real.
People just kind of ask for a little bit more of what they already have.
Yep.
The year, it's like, okay, well, what can I, what do I have now? Okay, maybe I can push it a little bit further. And that's not big enough, I think, for our life and what we're meant to be. Yeah.
I like 3 years because to me, it feels like it just goes out into the abstract and the possible and the magical and the like, oh shit, who knows what could happen in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Okay, so let's see. Let's either join together and dissect the idea of purpose, what I call the myth of purpose,
Okay.
or we could have a good old-fashioned internet argument about it.
Dissecting is good.
Do you feel the notion of purpose is misunderstood?
Yes.
By many people.
Yes.
So I think I'll just ask you for your take on it rather than, So what do you think? How do you think people see it? What do you think it kind of is?
I think people are looking for that magic pill. Like, give me my purpose and then I'll be happy. Give me my purpose and then I'll feel like my life is worth living. Give me my purpose and then I'll really be on my path. And there is a little bit of dependency there, because it's just tell me what to do. They're just trying to get that answer versus creating. And ultimately, I feel life is about co-creating with the universe, with with yourself, with So purpose is, is just life. Life is purpose. So there's no magic. There's no one way. So yeah, I'm very much in agreement with you. And I think people are holding on to it, feeling like it's going to be the answer to their life, to create. Right. And to me, meaning is made every day, and meaning comes from within, and the intention that you wake up with, how you show up for your life.
Yeah.
And you're living it. You're living it already. So it's nothing to be searching for. It's like a fish, looking for water.
Right.
You are in water. I mean, there's nothing to look for.
Right. Julie Hodges Armstrong asks, sorry, my glasses, as you know.
Right.
This is my terrible zone of vision right here. Could you replace the word passion for purpose? In other words, are you doing what you feel passionate about? Love to get your take on that before I share a little bit of my thoughts.
Yeah. Again, I really feel purpose is just life. There's really nothing magical about that. Passion to me is what's driving you and what gives you that feeling of motivation from within. It's that joy, that happiness. And I do believe that is something that changes, and it evolves and it grows. And as you grow and as you become more of who you are meant to be, or you're higher, connected to the best version of you, your passion will change, because it's that internal force that's pushing you towards something that you are that you are meant to be doing. And so to me, the vision, the vision, the passion is really connected to doing and to creating, versus purpose is all about just life. It's being, we are purpose.
I like that. It's not exactly how I looked at purpose. I always knew there was something about the sort of widely peddled idea / definition of purpose that I didn't agree with. It didn't work for me. And I want to share with you a story about being at a mastermind with a guy who is certainly trying to be, well, I shouldn't say the next Tony Robbins. That's not fair, but he's moving in that, like, me and my team from stage will create these like incredible breakthrough experiences for you. And I'm a little reluctant. I'm just going to do it because this is my truth, and this is the time for us to tell our truths. We broke off into small groups to brainstorm with each other, and to workshop, and to mastermind with each other. And this person and I were in the same group, and I went last in the masterminding, and I noticed that he dominated everybody's advice. Like, every time it was time to mastermind for someone, he took 90% of the oxygen in the room. And there was something I couldn't quite put my finger on until after the fact, and I realized what he did was it was subtle, but it was really, really powerful. What he did was he had this sort of framework that you had to have your purpose first. That was sort of this unspoken, and he was in a receptive group of people, right? He's in these hungry, entrepreneurial, sort of spiritual people who are willing to pay big bucks for a mastermind and that kind of thing. And I'm kind of sensing there's something missing the whole time. There's something not quite jiving. So with each person, he did this thing where he's like, well, what's your purpose? And nobody could really answer, right? And some of these people in this group are massively successful already. And then what happened was, as soon as he said, what's your purpose? And you couldn't answer, here's what I realized later. You were sort of in the web now, and now he's validated. Yeah. And now he's the only one with the answer for you. And I came away from it feeling so profoundly manipulated and so angry, and I, when it came my turn, I said, look, my purpose is simple. I want to make a dump truck full of money by helping other people. Oh, well, that's not good enough. That's not clear enough. I say it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did this thing where he said, well, I'm listening to the language you're using, and these words are telling me ... you know, ... subtle implication that you need my program,
Mm-hmm.
or ... I'm the guy who has the answer. And it was just like, it was interesting because at first it made me really frustrated, but then it was like, this is sort of emblematic of the whole industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's like throw you off balance, give you like really just kind of hang out a false premise. And in this case, it was, you need to have whatever my definition of purpose is. And then it wound up, after I processed it, I wound up going, actually, I feel really glad to have gone through that, because now I know purpose isn't what's being sold to us. You say purpose is life, and I really like that. I have always said that your purpose is simply the engine. It's what drives you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we're saying the same thing?
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. Agree. Yeah.
I heard Michael Gerber, the E-Myth.
Mm-hmm.
Love that guy too, by the way.
Yeah, that's great.
He had a great chapter in one of his books where he said, every time somebody asks me what the purpose of their life is, or how to find their purpose, he said, I take a deep breath, I kind of sigh a little bit, and I roll up my sleeves, because I know I'm about to burst someone's bubble.
Love it. Mm-hmm.
And he said, there is no purpose to purpose. It's the fuel, it's the force, it's the driving. And so purpose can be sort of really be held akin to creativity in a way. Mm-hmm. In the sense that the universe is creativity, right? And therefore we are creativity, because we are nothing if not directly a product of the universe. And so,
Mm-hmm.
so if that's the case, then our purpose is to manifest creativity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would absolutely agree. Yeah. And the vision and the passion is what drives you forward. That's the gasoline.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It runs the car. And again, it's, you do have to be refueled. You do have to take a moment to go back and look at, okay, what's my intention in this moment?
Yeah.
So you can even liken it to purpose is intention, just intention, and passion is, what is my intention?
I like that too. Yeah.
Right now, what's driving me forward? And I love your story, because I do see that in this industry, is a lot of this industry is driven by problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, wait, let me listen for your language to figure out why you're screwed up. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Versus no, everything's right with you. Everything's perfect. How can we just be more of it? I love the question. I've been in masterminds, and people will always ask me, well, what problem do you solve? And I'm like, I love that question, because I can appreciate that in this industry, everyone, especially with copying and marketing, everyone's like, what problem do you solve? And I say, you know what, my clients come to me more with ambition or dreams than problems.
Yeah.
And that to me is purpose. It's knowing that there's a part of me that is bigger and that can create. And I'm willing to step in and say, yes to my life, yes to my creativity, yes to my passion, yes to moving forward, yes to growing, yes to being the best, highest version of myself. And so there is a dance between the two, but the attachment to the one right way, to me, I think cripples a lot of people, and it brings you down, because if I'm always talking about what I'm missing, or I'm thinking about what the problem is that's not a lot of fun, and I'm not going to have a lot of motivation to wake up in the morning and say, what kind of day would I love? What would make me feel fulfilled in this moment, and live with full intentionality and live with full purpose, meaning life, and continue to move forward towards my passion, and my passion will guide me to the right action steps, assuming I continue to always take action. We have to take action. We're physical beings that have to move on this plane.
Right. Yeah.
And and allow the magic and the miracles to unfold. And what I see is, when you start walking towards something, the universe, will meet you halfway. I mean, that's when miracles are made. And so, yeah.
I mean, I completely agree with you. There's a part of me that wants to find a different way to articulate it because it sounds a little nebulous. But I think there is a nebulous element to the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we can say because we see proof of it over and over and over again that taking action is essential. But the rub, the catch-22, the cosmic joke is that you don't need to know exactly what you're taking action toward. Right?
Well, the vision guides you. It's kind of the general, go eat.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well,
so now I've come to you and you have helped me to sort of redefine purpose, redefine vision. What's next? Because you're going to help me launch my dream life.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. I love that question. And I'll just share with you, I do a 3-month Manifest Your Dreams program.
Okay.
And the very first class, we're like, manifest parking spots.
Okay.
Class, what is your vision? But it takes us a couple of weeks to break down the barriers most people have with writing a vision, because I have to undo, what a lot of the programming is out there, in the personal development field. So the first step is writing a vision, but it's a little bit of a process. But the first week is really just manifest parking spots, manifest coins. And what'll happen second week is people will say, "Oh my God, I went to a parking spot or a mall and couldn't find a parking spot, and all of a sudden I remembered. Let me just manifest it." And lo and behold, someone pulled out the closest spot right in front of the department store I wanted to go into. And as they write their vision, they're starting to again in on what they would love, in starting with the feelings and the general experience of it. And you continue to hone it down into what maybe specifics around health, relationships, career, money, spirituality. By the end of the 3 months, what they've created a lot of miracles. They've taken action towards a lot of their dreams. They've seen things unfold for them. They've manifested. I mean, I've had clients who manifested their dream home, their dream job, turned around their relationships, health, and healing. And really the prize at the end of the 3 months is not the things that they achieve, and knowing that anything that I can think of, dream of, set my intention of, meaning put my energy towards, I can manifest. That's really, I think, purpose. It's knowing that I am a creative being with this power. It does sound nebulous. It sounds a little woo-woo. I'm very grounded woo-woo. I can go. But it's really being practical and knowing that there is nothing that I cannot accomplish. There is nothing that I cannot create. And knowing that whatever is within me is more powerful than whatever is outside of me, all the circumstances, and being able to overcome them and look at my problems and say, I'm bigger than you. Look at my problems or limitations and say, you're not going to get in my way. I can break through that obstacle. I can climb around it, to the side of it, whatever. That to me is the ultimate prize at the end. When you know that you are a creative being with this universe, and when you put whatever you put your intention and energy to, you can manifest. That's bigger than any goal, any dream, any vision. To me, that's purpose.
I love it. That's nice. It's maybe the most sort of detailed description of the idea that I've heard yet. Mm-hmm. It's certainly the most detailed I've been able to share with my audience. So thank you for that. Oh. You said manifest, but you also said action.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So, that definitely makes me want to. So I know that manifestation of a certain kind is powerful and effective.
Mm-hmm.
I also see, it looks like what we're going to do today basically is skewer a bunch of sacred cows. I didn't realize that was going to be our job today, but
Well,
it's turning out.
you look at the word manifest. Mana is like hands, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you do stuff with your hands. So
Yeah.
manifest isn't some woo woo,
Right.
out there.
Yeah.
It literally is
Mm-hmm.
co-creating, and it's I say co-creating because there is a power that when we are riding that ride is so much bigger than our small self.
Yeah.
And so we're tapping into the bigger self. But you have to take action. You can't just sit and meditate all day. I try.
Right. Right. Yeah. Same here. After I watched The Secret, I was totally like, I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And John Assaraf says the law of attraction works, but you have to mix it with the law of Goya, which is an acronym for get off your ass.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But
and action has that word action in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I like taking playful shots at this sort of the manifestation crew, right? If you think about it, somebody who goes and puts in 40 hours at a factory manifested that paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know? So I love that. How do we then, when you say launch your dream life, do you have to recalibrate people's definition of what dream life means? Is it less specific and more like kind of like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be in this dream life?
Yeah.
Or talk to me about that.
Yeah. That's a great question. I think we're always given opportunities to reassess our life and where we're at and to say yes to something bigger. It's so easy to keep going through the motions. And
right.
Right. I have a Fitbit. I wear my Fitbit pretty much 24/7. And this, about once a week I have to recharge it. So this morning it was almost dead. So I had, put in the morning routine, and I went to wash my hands at one point, and I turned on the faucet and did this little move with my hand, and there was no watch there. It's like I was just on autopilot washing my hands. And it just dawned on me that, there's so much of our life is run on autopilot. Yeah. We just go through the motions. And so when we're faced with challenges, when we're faced with new beginnings, when we're faced with roadblocks, it's always an opportunity to stop, assess and to look at what's real for us. Yeah. And so new years, I love new beginnings, new years, new months, new weeks, new days. The opportunity now people have where so much of their day-to-day life that they been going through the motions and has stopped. Yeah. And to step back and reassess and look at, okay, am I living the life that I want to live?
Yeah.
What is my dream? What makes me happy? What brings me joy? And what would that look like? And again, it's, we do, we're still limited as aware and conscious as we can get and continue to get. We're still limited by what we know.
Yeah.
And so I can look at my life and say, well, this quite isn't working for me. And so I would love this instead. And that's going to move me towards my dream life. Even just that one little nuance of looking at something in my life that's not working. I had a call, like I said, I've opened up my calendar for laser coaching for people who are struggling. And I spoke with a man. His wife said, he's not sleeping. He's stressed. He's really, just this whole thing has just really gotten him down. And 10 minutes in the conversation, we realized he doesn't even love what he's doing.
Right.
And then he went on to, what I would love to do is this. And he's never said that out loud before. Like, why are we not saying those things out loud and giving ourselves an opportunity to move forward? It's because most people don't believe it's possible. And they also don't know how to get there.
Right.
And again, because they're looking for that one big answer. But to me, it's a daily thing. It's what would I love? And it's not like I'm going to quit my job because I want to go fishing in Alaska. It's my dream is to fish in Alaska. Okay, I just open up to that possibility. I continue to take action, and I happen to open up a magazine, and there's an opportunity there, and I might jump on it, or I might meet someone, at least learn about it, or I might Google it and experience it on YouTube. Those are all steps in the direction, and that gives me more joy, more ideas. And when I open up to my dream, I start to get again, those ideas start to come, those resources start to come, the right people, my antennas, start to perk up for people across the way talking about that very thing that I had said I wanted. And I can go over there and have that conversation, or I can just shut back down and just go through the motions in my life. So launching into your dream life is really number one, opening up to the possibility.
Yeah.
Starting to ask, even if it's a simple, people, it breaks my heart when I ask people, what would you love? And they have no clue. And so I have to, I step back and I ask people, start asking yourself every day.
Yeah.
Don't just put your clothes on, half aware. Don't just go to a restaurant and eat anything off the menu. Wake up and ask, what would I love to wear today? You're at a restaurant. What would I love to eat? Just those questions really shift the dynamics of what you're thinking and how you're feeling, and starts to allow yourself to dream. We don't allow ourselves to dream. You ask 5-year-olds, what's your dream? What do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, I want to be a ballerina, an astronaut, and president of the United States.
That's right. And a dinosaur.
But and a dinosaur, yeah. And everyone's like, oh, that's so cute. That's wonderful. By the time you're in first grade, someone asks you what you want to be when you grow up, and you say, ballerina, an astronaut, a president of the United States, and a dinosaur. And everyone's like, well, you got to choose one. It's going to be hard. You got to go to go to school take the fun out of it.
Totally.
So we stop dreaming. We stop answering those questions of what I would love, and we start saying, okay, what should I do?
Yeah.
Based on everybody else's programming.
Yeah. Such an important shift, right? So I kind of want to just go face this global, I choked down the word crisis. I'm really frustrated about it. It seems like there's just, if the crisis is in the mismanagement and it's in the playing to the fear and not the actual medical and all that. I have a lot of opinions on this that I am sort of dripping out to the public little by little. But how do you see the potential gift, upside, possibility in all of this?
Yeah, I love that question. The word crisis in Japan is actually the 2 words, and that one, 2 symbols, danger and opportunity. And so number one, I don't deny the danger. I mean, I had someone who was fighting for his life, and people are really struggling. People are struggling financially, health-wise. They're not able to be with their family. People are depressed and alone. So there is danger. So we acknowledge it. We acknowledge what is happening, and we look at, okay, how can I continue to move forward in light of what's going on? What can I do in this moment? If I have a friend who's in the hospital and I can't do anything, all I can do is maybe pray or set positive intentions. With my finances, you work through things. So we deal with the danger. We don't deny it. I'm not let's just think positive and pretend nothing's happening. We deal with that. But there's also opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's really where most of our energy can be placed in order to allow us to grow, because the opportunity is really what is meant for us in order to evolve. It's the hero's journey. It's being shaken out of that ordinary life. It's a call to adventure. It's seeing life as something that's not going to overcome me, but that there are qualities within me that I need to ramp up right now in order to, number one, get through this time or benefit through this time, which now, once I've touched those qualities and I've built those muscles, I have them available for the rest of my life. It's been dormant within me.
Now that is important. And that's something that, even those of us that are really trying to offer guidance and clarity and perspective, I haven't seen anybody really acknowledge that. What you do now will stay with you for the rest of your life, but the general circumstances around you will be much easier than this for quite some time. So you'll go up while the difficulty goes down. That's good. I can't help but keep referring back to Viktor Frankl. I can't help but keep looking to man's search for meaning in this time. And it's interesting because you mentioned something about just now about it's escaping me, but you were basically talking about not being sort of like blindly optimistic, right? Like just pumping positivity without anything attached to it. Frankl said that the first ones to go in the concentration camps were the optimists, which I just think
is right. I forgot about that. Yes,
so profound. He said the ones that made it through were the ones that weren't optimistic, but who had a sense of vision for the future after that moment, right? He himself.
I think when you're too positive and optimistic in the moment, that when things don't quite work, then you just go into either freeze or depression, or you give up,
or denial.
Yes.
Right. You just keep looking for the positive, looking for the positive, just manufacturing positives out of thin air. Frankl would project himself into the future where he was lecturing at college, right? And he was going deep into the emotional experience of connecting with his students and seeing the aha moments when he taught them something successfully. So there's a difference. That is an optimistic thing to think about, but it's not just this sort of I saw somebody refer to the people who just keep sort of rah-rahing and ignoring as positivity pimps. I thought that was pretty funny.
Before, but love it.
So it's not just positivity pimping. It's really connecting to, well, for me, service is really sort of a irreducible axiom. It's just really always a thing that is so important to have a connection to. So he was connecting to service, right? He was connecting to being able to be a voice for how this would never happen again, and all this stuff. So purpose has positivity in it, but it's much bigger than positivity in the sense of projecting out past this moment we find ourselves in. You can't control the external forces of this moment, but you have utter control over what it means to you, what you do with it, how you show up in it.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know we'd necessarily get into that.
Absolutely. And you know what, I agree with that, because I think, again, you don't ignore what's going on and you think positively.
Right.
I think you find the blessings in what's going on. I mean, I could write pages and pages of the blessings of what's happening right now in this moment for myself and for the world. And you look at that, and you also look at what is your intention in this moment? I had, I'm speaking to people, they're frantic, they're scared. And my questions were, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food? Like, are you safe in this moment? So in this moment, you're alive. In this moment, your family is alive. In this moment, you're breathing. In this moment, your family is healthy. So looking at those blessings and allowing that to take your focus. But also on the other extreme is looking at, if this situation were to continue to occur, if this was rampant, if I were to be forced to be in this situation forever, what qualities within me would need to come out in order for me to be okay with this?
Right.
How would I need to be in this situation that I have no control over in order for me to be okay with this? That's what's trying to emerge.
Yeah.
That's what's trying to come through me so that I can become greater than my problem. And you mentioned something earlier, is that, in the future, the problems won't be as big. Actually, as you say hello to your hero's journey, I'm sure the next journey is going to be even bigger trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
with your muscles. And so we're building that. And so if I need to learn more presence, if I need to learn more trust, if I need to learn more money management, if I need to learn how to take better care of myself, those are all things that I would need to step into if this pandemic, if this situation were to last forever. I would need to learn more about online business. You know, so there's so many things that is calling us in this moment that we wouldn't even think about had we not been put in this situation.
Let's do this as a sort of a sign off, and it won't have to be like we got to go. But I mean, I think it's a natural evolution of our conversation. Tell me a little bit about what you think, and this is totally your view, right? This is, we're not trying to get some sort of, there's no right or wrong. What do you think this is trying to teach us in the schema that this is trying to teach us something? What do you think? Like what's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I really truly believe it's personal for every single human being. And the questions that they need to ask is what is it trying to teach them? For some, it's they just need to shut it down and slow down because they've been driving themselves, down a path that's completely wrong. For others, it's focusing on what is their dream, what is their life, because they've been stuck in a job. Now they're laid off, but they didn't even pay attention to the fact that they were, in a place that they didn't love. And so now they have to reassess their dream and what they want. For others, it's reconnecting with their families. It's, I have one client who has 2 kids and she's worried about them. And I said, this is going to be the best memory that they will have for the first time. They have both of you at home with them. They're 3 and 5-year-old kids. They have both of you at home with them, playing, cooking dinner together, running around the backyard, reading, they have you at home. And so just appreciating that family time. For others, it is to write that big American novel or that nonfiction book.
Yeah.
In the beginning, everyone's like, oh my God, you could start writing and start these programs and content. And I think that's a lot of pressure. So I'm not in a big agreement. I'm not, I don't think it's for everybody to dive into their entire bucket list and
right. Yeah.
Pressure. But for some, it is like, oh my gosh, you hadn't had time to write that book, and now you do.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot. For others, it's just assessing their life. I had a friend who was on his deathbed who came out of the hospital, whole new realizations about his life, about his relationships, about his path, and so about his relationship with God. And so for everyone, it's different. And I think that you absolutely have to ask those questions of yourself. Is what is there for me to teach? Or what is there for me to learn from this?
I think it's interesting that scientifically this is referred to as the novel coronavirus. And I like the word novel, right? But for a different reason. Yeah. The thing is that it's very difficult to shift perspectives, to open up to new ideas, to think differently, unless you're in a novel environment.
Yes.
Right? Unless it's a novel, I keep saying moment in time. I think that's really kind of what this is. And so that's like just kind of being a little bit of a geek on words like I am, I just keep seeing that. And I think that's what I'm seeing through a lot of my social media friends. I'm pretty good at sifting through the sort of static and the fuzz and okay, I get it. You think that Bill Gates is going to take over the world. Fine, whatever. To what end, I ask. But anyway, but what I am seeing a lot of people doing is either voluntarily going into or sort of being pushed into a place of looking at things, as you say, from a different perspective.
Yeah.
I don't want to close this out with an abstraction like find a different perspective. It's good, blah, 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 but I want it to be more tangible than that. So I'm going to suggest to people, very much inspired by this conversation here, that you have to go find a point of view inside of you that makes this a meaningful moment in time for you. It doesn't have to be all positivity. This might be the time you get really serious about the stuff you haven't been looking at that's been really kind of nipping at your heels, right? That's okay. If the whole globe is in a long, dark tea time of the soul, maybe for some of us, we get to opt into doing that because it's long overdue. But I think the main thing I'm hearing from you, not just about this, but sort of in a thread of your work, is there's a thread of personal empowerment, right? At the level of thought.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so that's what I want to leave people with. I want to invite you to leave the audience with whatever is sort of in your heart and on your tongue at this moment. And then we'll sign off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is a really beautiful time for all of us to step up. And to start to live that legendary life that we are meant to be living. And for everyone, it's different. And so novel is new. So yes, we've been shaking off our foundation and we have a clean slate. And I think we all need to start drawing. We all need to start asking those questions of what would I love, even if it's every day, what would I love today to look like? You know, and start to look at what if I do have things that aren't working in my life, it's what qualities within me are required to step up in order to be okay with this, in order to move through this and accomplish this, you know, area of my life. And I think it's definitely the questions. I think the wrong questions are, how long is this going to last? When is it going to be over? You know, who's going to fix it? It's having that time to reflect on myself. You know, I saw a quote or a meme the other day. It said, if you come out of this the same way you came in, you missed the point.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I've seen that one too.
What's calling you towards legendary? What within you is required to step up? And to be able to harness those opportunities so that you don't need to create another shakeup in order to start to ask those questions.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be, among other things, a significant lurch forward in the collective consciousness.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I want to thank you for taking the time to share this stuff with us today. It's been wonderful to connect with you, TREZ.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. It was great being on with you and having the conversation, and love talking about this stuff. So thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
And hey, guys, she didn't okay this, but she did say she's given free laser coaching. So if you like what you heard, reach out. Get in her world.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.